Hello everyone, it's Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association and welcome to another weekly dose of inspiration to build a successful business. So today we are talking all about how to get that idea for an amazing course that you have in your head out of your head and actually give shape to it, because you know you have an amazing course inside you. I think so many entrepreneurs do, but then when they actually come to sit down and write it out and get it out of your head, all of a sudden it loses its edge. But it doesn't need to be like this at all. So in order to help you with this, we are joined by the lovely Karen Sargent, who helps entrepreneurs all over the world to create wonderful courses. And she's going to be sharing 3 tips that you can apply right now to help you to get that course out of your head and create a really memorable customer experience. So Karen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I am so excited to talk about this because this is something we have never covered before, and it's something that so many of us feel like. I know I felt like this before, where you've got ideas to create a wonderful course in your head, but then the moment you start to actually do something about it and write it out, it's like, this isn't working, it seems terrible, or it just gets so confusing and complicated, and then you freeze and you stop and you just put it to one side and you think, I'll come back to it later, and then never do. It happens to so many people, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You're hitting the nail right on the head. That's exactly where I see people, is that they have this great idea, and as long as it stays, from the neck up, it's this fabulous idea. But the minute that you try to sit down, and we know that we need to put structure to things, we need to make things teachable and learnable. But when we start to do that, the magic goes away, or, the uniqueness of it goes away, or it's this monster thing that has all of these bells and whistles, and it's this unwieldy thing. And that's where, people get stuck and they, delay a course, or they just try their best sort of to soldier through it. And the thing is, it's not an effort issue. It's not a disorganization issue. It's almost the embarrassment of riches of being an expert in your topic area. But there's tools that you can layer in that help you sort through all that and get a really great course out on paper and then out to your folks. So I have sort of 3 steps that I like to walk people through. And these are simplified just for our talk here, but this is sort of the essence of how you do it. So the first thing is you start right at where the disconnect is. And that tends to be because when we start to put pen to paper and talk about a course, what comes out is a list of topics. It's a list of topics that I feel I want to kind of hold forth on. And what we've forgotten right then is that we're not talking about people don't need to know things more. They need to change their performance. We're trying to get small business owners a skill set or a business result. We want them to perform better. And that's not a list of topics. A list of topics is like, a Wikipedia article, not a course. So instead of thinking about what do they need to know, it's what do they need to do better. And when we have that kind of focus, that changes our thinking and it puts it back into the richer context. And so you're not simply talking about a feature of a software or a step-by-step to get from A to B. What you're talking, because that's rarely the difficult thing. What's difficult is this is my business situation. What tools do I use? What should I, of all the selection of things out there, what's for me and my situation, and how do I utilize that to see a better result? So the first trick is to not lose that focus, that you're trying to boost performance.
Okay.
And so then the second thing is where people get jammed up is they have to make that content decision. What content is in and what content is out? And a lot of times what they do is they take that list and they draw a line and they say everything above it is in the course and everything below it is not in the course. And again, that's, that doesn't really get at what your student learner needs to hear from you. So I like to think of it in terms of bridging a gap. So make another list. It's an incoming student performance list. So think about your incoming students. What do they look like and sound like and act like? And what do they believe? And what are their philosophies, related to your subject matter? List them all out. And then make a second list of what you want to graduate your students with. What does a graduate of your course, now it's not an A+ master of the material, it's whatever modest slice of course that you want to put out there, but what does a graduate look like, sound like, act like? What mindsets do they have? And so when you have them listed together, there's gaps there, and it's the gap to is what your course must teach. So when you come across content ideas, you go back to your list and say, does this fill the gap? If so, it's in. If it doesn't fill the gap, it's out. You know, it's teaser material, or it's content marketing, or it's your newsletter, or it's just an anecdotal story. But it's a really great yardstick for criteria for what's in and what's out. And it really can help you like not lose your mind when you're trying to like shape, you know, put actual content to your course. And then the third thing, the last step, is really to be clever about the material and to dig deep into the customer experience of the problem to see what is really preventing them from performing better. And a lot of times we get tripped up on this because we tend to think that knowledge will solve a problem. And that is almost universally not the case. So think of like smoking, you know, stopping smoking or wearing sunscreen. Do you think that it's a knowledge problem? Like if I ship you enough information about the dangers of smoking, will that keep everyone from smoking or wearing sunscreen when they should? Those aren't knowledge problems. There's another barrier to performance that if you want to be successful with that, you need to solve that barrier. You need to identify it in all of its richness and solve it. And it's a much more modest effort when we tend to think about info products and the types of things that we're teaching small businesses, but it's still the same concept. And this is what will set your course apart from its competitors in spades, because almost nobody does this. They don't dig deep into the barriers to performance and try to figure out what is that thing that I can solve for my customer. If it's a mindset or if it's a resource issue, is it a prioritization issue? Is it a recall issue? What is it that's preventing them already from performing, you know, just naturally at a higher level? And once you start solving that, you have a blockbuster course on your hands.
Yeah, I love that. That is so succinct, and not only are your steps succinct, it shows people like how to not only just create a course, but how to create a course on another level. Like an amazing course that, I love how you said it, a customer experience, because if you can create that amazing customer experience, then people are going to love you and want more and more and more and share wonderful things about you. So I love that all. Thank you so much for sharing those tips.
You're very welcome.
It's definitely something that a lot of people, I know I have struggled with this, and a lot of people struggle with it. So thank you so, so much. And if this is something that you struggle with, if you have got that wonderful course inside of yourself and you are really struggling to get it out there, then follow those 3 tips, go through everything that Karen has just said, and try it out for yourself and try and get that wonderful course in your head, out of your head, onto paper, and turn it into a reality. If you have any questions on this, then leave a comment on the blog. And if you have any experiences that you want to share or any challenges that you have regarding to this, then leave a comment too on the blog and we will get back to you. And I will see you next week for another dose of inspiration.